Hey everybody, happy fellow toolboxers. It is episode 266, a top 10 episode, going over stuff I learned in the last week or so, on different topics to help get your practice to be bigger and better, and for you to be the best at what you do. That's what we're here for at the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox. It's 6 a.m. Monday morning. Kind of trying to get it back to the flow. It's a little off last couple of weeks between lack of sleep from childcare, as for those who have little kids know. And then I went on a quick vacation. I was hoping to do work there too, but when you don't sleep at night due to childcare, the kids, baby screaming anyways. All the vacations in the world can't really save you, but I'm a little bit more rested. I like to take these vacation times to really look at longer term stuff to plan out things. And it's near the end of the year, so it's kind of a recap of what do we do this year and what are the goals for next year. And I'm actually going to be speaking at the ILT Conference in Las Vegas in December. They have two tracks essentially, one for like immigration basics and one's for like business school, they're calling it. I'm speaking on the panel about marketing. But I'm using that time, having my associates to come too. And we're going to have like group meetings there to really plan out what 2023 is going to look like with regards to expansion, KPIs I want to set up, target goals and stuff like that. And, what kind of cases we go after, how our marketing is going to work, our team member growth is going to happen, what we need, and who's doing what, and spend a lot of time doing that kind of stuff. So something important to do, whether you're solo or you've got a lot of people. This is really something that should be happening quarterly. At the beginning of this year, I thought to myself, I'm gonna like every quarter have my business plan, review it. That's what you're supposed to do to be successful and stuff. But I never really got around to it. But a lot of it is just this growing pain. So it's not that I have more people on the team that could, take advantage of certain, just take care of certain stuff without me thinking about it. It opens up for me to just work on the business of thing where we're missing stuff, where our weak points are, where our strengths are, what we should do, all that kind of stuff. So that's what's going on through my head right now. I said, yeah, come check it out if you want to meet and stuff. I'm gonna be in Vegas. I think the conference is on the 5th and 6th, Monday and Tuesday in December, like the first Monday or Tuesday in December. But also, we have our own conference for the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox in February 24th, a Friday, where we're going to break down the O1 visa, how to submit it with great experts in the field. I'm going to be talking about it, so you're going to have a lot of fun there. Plus, we're going to be networking, have dinner together, get to know each other. So it's the mentorship and connection aspect that's frankly more important in the long term for business. But you could come add it to your business if you have an associate who come learn O's. Add that to your toolbox. And we're essentially in a recession. I can sense it from clients. Every client is having money issues. So why not add an extra field that you can do to make up for that? Because inevitably people do need to come to the United States to do O1 activities. Why not learn how to do that practice set too and add it to your toolbox, as I said. So stuff to look into. The magazine, the last issue came out. I didn't even market it too much, and it got a lot of downloads. So it was really a success. The next issue, we're finalizing it hopefully this week. But check it out, immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com/magazine. A lot of helpful information on becoming a better immigration attorney there in different practice areas as well. I want to thank our sponsor, our main sponsor, DACA, who sponsored the magazine, the podcast. DACA is the all-in-one form system that's really helpful for taking your practice next level. A lot of support there, and adding so many features for employment-based and different options. They connect with LawPay. They have a huge discount they give. So if you use LawPay and you want to set it up, or you want to set up LawPay, there's a huge waiver of the initial startup fee or something that they're given. So there's a lot of stuff that comes with be with DACA. So definitely check that out. You're gonna enjoy it. We have another sponsor, Immigration Evaluation Directory. I'll talk more about that later. They're really good service as well for immigration attorneys. But having said all that, if you're learning, want to learn about immigration law, you're getting started, we have a course for you. Email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com for our marriage immigration course, concept processing, adjustment status course. But yeah, let's jump into it. All the information here is intended for general education only. Consult with an immigration attorney on your own for guidance. But there's just some stuff that popped up during last week that I wanted to share with you. So number one, EAD revocation. So when you have a C9 category EAD, this is when you're doing adjustment of status and you file for, it's pending. If your adjustment of status case is denied for some reason, it doesn't necessarily mean the work permit, the EAD, is automatically revoked as well. I thought there was automatic revocation based on the fact that the underlying reason for the EAD is done. But according to the Code of Federal Regulations, Section 274A.14, 274A.14, to revoke the EAD, they have to state that it's revoked as well and give some time or something like that to try to correct the revocation issue. And so, imagine you get an I-485 denial and they never reference the work permit. Technically, the work permit is still valid. Now, a lot of times they'll sneak it in there and they'll mention the I-485 denial that the EAD is revoked as well, or something like that. They'll have language that extent. But if they don't, that's a glitch. That's a loophole, if you will, to be mindful of. Again, the Code of Regulations section is 274A.14. That gets into that. Number two is about selective service. So if you're a U.S. citizen, a green card holder, even if you're illegally, as long as you're not a non-immigrant visa holder, you have to sign up for the selective service draft when you're 18 to I think 20 before 26. This becomes an issue for us in our cases when a client wants to file for citizenship, and if during the good moral character period, 5 years or 3 years if you're a U.S. citizen, you haven't signed up for selective service, then they'll deny the citizenship case based on bad moral character. A lot of times when people didn't sign up, they have to wait till they're 31, based on 26 is the cutoff for signing up. Add 5 years for good moral character. So by the time they're 31 is when they're out of it and they can file for Natz. But one thing that pops up, and I didn't realize this first for the initial part of my career, is if you adjust status, USCIS will on its own normally sign you up for the selective service draft. So the selective service issue really comes up for people who are doing consular processing. Normally, the embassy office is supposed to give you a page that tells you, oh, yeah, your kids are supposed to sign up for this, or you're supposed to sign up for this. A lot of time they forget. So it's very important that if you have clients that are within that age range, to tell them to sign up for it. But if you get a Natz case and this selective service issue comes up, USCIS may have filed for them. Now, the next level, this is really important, that I just learned, wonderful person, I wish I had their name posted, but is that when USCIS assigns you up for the selective service draft, the applicant at that point, a foreign national, may not have a social security number. So there's no connection between the social security number and the selective service registration. So if you try to look it up, it's not going to show up. So what you have to do for clients who have adjusted status is call the selective service and ask for it by name, because the website may not pull it up because there's no social security number there to connect it. This can really save your clients a lot of headache and hassle and filing deadlines, all that kind of stuff for selective service. So also next level stuff that I definitely want to share is very important. Number three, DACA has essentially, they've closed it off, the court has, for new filings. The administration brought up the old rule and says we'll continue doing that. So if you had an existing DACA, you could do it. They didn't change the dates of when you have to be here, all that kind of stuff, unfortunately. But one note in there was that if your DACA expired and it's expired for more than a year, you can't renew it anymore. So you won't be considered a renewal at that point if it's too long. So hopefully you have clients that have DACA, they don't wait that long to renew. They just constantly keep the renewal going to avoid falling out of DACA status, renewability status, and becoming like a first-time filer. That could be a mess. Another topic, number four, is about E-2 visas. One thing we do with the Toolbox is, and I'm really trying to get on top of it, there's so much statistics that USCIS and DOS put out there. I want to have like hundreds of charts coming out every year of different pieces of information. One fun one I like doing on my own is, and we're going to do this probably like a monthly with the stats, come out or quarterly, are the E-2 statistics. So I thought I'd share with you top E-2 visa issuances by nationality for the fiscal year 2022. It's very interesting. By far, with multiples of everybody else, or everyone else put it together, don't add up to it or something like that. Not exactly, but is Japan. Japan is E-2 central. We have a colleague, his firm here in LA. Essentially, the whole firm is just doing Japanese E-2. There's not much business going on. Excuse me. On that side of the world. So I'm guessing a lot of them are for big companies that transferring their employees. Number two is Canada. So Japan, 13,900, almost 14,000. Canada, almost 3,500. Germany, almost 3,200. South Korea, almost 3,200. UK, 2,800. France, 2,700. Taiwan, 2,400. So if you look really quick on the Japan, South Korea, Taiwan side of the thing, there's like more than half of like E2s are from there. And then, Canada, Germany, UK, France, Spain, Mexico, Argentina, going down the list. So if you're new, you're marketing, these are countries you could go and they got E2 business. So imagine if you run Google ads or Facebook ads in Argentina for E2s. There's 1,000 that come out of there. DOS, this is not USCIS change of status. So there are different numbers there. There are probably more stuff going on there. But imagine if you charge a good price for the E2 and you get 10 Argentinian E2s, that's $100,000 salary if you charge a good price. And that's only 10% of the Argentinian cases. Now, getting 10% of one country is a lot, but I think there could be more. If people know about the E2 option and how it works, I think a lot more people will do it. I thought it'd be an interesting thing to share. Number 5, FOIA. So we have a lot of posts I always see where people have issues with the new form G369. That's USCIS form for FOIA requests. The return say you didn't sign it properly, to fill it out properly. What's important is that form is not a requirement, it's just a helpful thing that's there. Haven't used form G639 in 10 years. I just created my own one-sheeter release page that clients sign, and that's enough. So that's all you got to do it. I have this part of my course. I give it on my students, but I want to get people to join the Circle at SU, a community group that we have. So as a benefit, if you're interested, if you're an immigration lawyer and you want to get a sample of my FOIA, I'm going to post it in the group for my Circle at SO community page for Immigration Lawyers Toolbox, for Toolboxers. Just email me that you want to join that group, and I'll add you, and then you'll get access to the download of the FOIA sample I use for my cases. I use it for USCIS, for EOIR, for CBP. It's a one-sheeter, and you got to add G28, there's a DOJ 369 or not 369, something like that, that add in there in a cover letter. But I'll have it there for members of the community if you want to get that. Just email me for it. Now, I do it for DOS as well. DOS, I do that as well, or that own shit, I can't remember. But for USCIS, I normally email it to them, but they're shutting down the email system. There's gonna be a new online system. The new online system wants a little piece of more information, like parents' names and stuff. So I got to add that to my release. But USCIS FOIAs, I filed one last month at the latest. I mean, I follow it right now, but the last month got sent. So we got 1 month to get a USCIS FOIA. So it's pretty wonderful when it works that fast. Number 6, reentry permit issues. So this has been really annoying because reentry permits are taking like years. I've been on reentry permit 2 years now, 2.5 years still pending, but at least 1 year. I've had other ones take a year. And it's like, how do you deal with this? So you file the reentry permit, the person leaves, and let's say they do the biometrics, then they leave, and then it takes a year and a half to get the reentry permit approved, and it's approved for 2 years. How do we calculate the absences while it's pending? So I tell clients to avoid issues, especially for Natz, try to break up the absence and not be out for more than 6 months to create issues for that. But it's such a weird thing because it's taking so long. It creates this gap while it's pending when the person's not here. CBP is pretty flexible, so I'm not too worried about them. I'm hassling because you say this time pending, what can you do? But overall, it's such a confusing thing that's happening. If you have thoughts or had issues with it, let me know. The delay in reentry issuance and how it could affect cases for hassling by reentry or potentially at citizenship time. I want to take a quick second to mention in the Immigration Evaluation Directory.com. That's immigrationevaluationdirectory.com. Did you know that research reports that psychological evaluations can increase an asylum applicant's chance of approval by 78%? Psychological evaluations are hugely beneficial in hardship, cancellation, asylum, and other types of immigration cases. If you're in court with USCIS, you can use those to your benefit. Connecting with qualified clinicians has never been easier, thanks to the immigrationevaluationdirectory.com. Free to use, you can filter the directory by location, language, case type, and more, then review profiles and reach out to the therapist to have them talk with your client to see what's going on. The Immigration Evaluation Directory is your one-stop resource to find the best therapist to help. Explore more today at immigrationevaluationdirectory.com. That's immigrationevaluationdirectory.com for your client therapist needs. Number 8, actually number 7, this is a really important topic. There's a situation where you're doing a marriage case, for example, and the petitioner has been previously married before. But for various reasons, they decide that either to fast or to avoid certain things, to do their divorce. Let's say they're both living in California, the husband and wife want to get divorced. They go back to their home country where they're from originally, for example. They're both green card holders or citizens, whatever. They get a divorce there, then they come back, and then they remarry. California will not recognize that divorce because California wants to have jurisdiction over their residents to make sure they're divorced and they follow the rules of divorce in California, which could be child support, alimony, all that kind of stuff. We want to make sure that stuff happens. And so on an immigration aspect, what happens is when you remarry and then you want to file a new I-130 for that new spouse, USCIS will deny that case, saying the marriage is not lawful because people are not properly divorced. And a lot of people don't know this. So we're going through this headache right now with lawyers who don't know this and trying to fix up those cases. But it's just really important thing. I want you to know that this exists, and to avoid it. If you don't want to file I-130, get denied for some reason like that. Number 8, I'm not sure if I talked about this already, but I thought I'll mention it again. I had the people come to me where they had a big firm do their adjustment case. They didn't tell it was a EB employment base. They didn't tell the dependent, the wife, that she could file for a work permit with the case. And then 8 or 9 months go by, and she needs a work permit, and they contact me. I'm like, well, just file the C9 EAD, and then make an expedite request once you get the receipt. Well, they filed the case a week after like less than a week after filing the case, they got the EAD approved. It was that fast. So I thought I'd share that aspect. And the week after that, the green card was approved. So the EAD is not necessary in the first place, because but you never know when the green card is going to get approved. Now, the green card actually that was approved was for the primary beneficiary, not the dependent. Dependent's still pending. So actually, they needed the EAD pending that. But it was just interesting the timeline and the fact that the big firm still pay attention to dependents, and they get lost in the mix like that, not filing the EAD. It was such an unnecessary thing. Could have had that. Would have saved. They were so worried because they have some the things going on. So that's just piece of fact that I wanted to share with you. Number 9, actually we're gonna have like 2 bonuses here. Number 9, quick one, USCIS extended. I guess I'll put this in once the USCIS note. So one is number 9A is USCIS extended its code extensions. So we got more time on responses. Hopefully that aspect goes on forever. The extension time is so vital, so ridiculous that they don't have this extended time automatically. And 9B, the duplicate requirement for Form I-129. So when you're doing a non-immigrant work visa kind of case, historically you have to submit 2 application copies, because one goes to the PIM system with the KCC or something like that, so the embassies get it. They changed it. If you go to the I-129 website on USCIS.gov, it says that it's not required anymore to submit a duplicate, which is great, because if you didn't submit a duplicate, then you might have been forced to submit an I-824, which would have been a nightmare, something you didn't want to do. So that's really important. The last 2 notes, I guess, are agencies, CBP and DOS. I'll merge these 2, so 10 is 2 notes. The U.S. Embassy in Nigeria has had some serious threats, so they're kind of closing shop, sending families home, and lowering their staff level. If you have Nigerian immigrant visa case, you already know there's a 1 or 2 year wait to get an interview. That's unfortunately just going to get worse because of that. And then CBP, finally, people have been noting this. I can't find the source for it, so I want to mention it, but I don't have a source. CBP is stopping their stamping of admission stamps in people's passports when they're entering the United States, just sticking to the I-94, which obviously for our purpose is not good. We want as much information as possible. Sometimes you can't find the I-94. Sometimes there's errors on it. Clients not pay attention. You want that stamp to be in there to see exactly what's going on. What's going to happen if they get, for example, on a tourist visa less than 6 months, and it's not stamped in the passport? How's a client going to know? They don't really know how to check an I-94 online. So they want to be faster. I know they're doing millions of these, so they want to just take that out. But it was a good thing to have these stamps, in my opinion. So I wish we had them, but just be aware that that may be going away. So that's the end of the show. Contact me if you want to learn more about the Toolbox Conference, 01 Conference. We're going to break down great attorneys. We're going to do interviews with each of them, so you know how, like, the background of the talent that's coming to teach this course on 01 visas. You're going to enjoy it. Other than that, if you want to learn about marriage, immigration, and the basics, if you're listening to this and you want to learn, even if you already do marriage, we have several people that contact me that do submissions for marriage immigration cases, and I say, well, of course, you already know it. But then I see people on these listservs who do marriage immigration cases and the questions that they ask, and I realize people really need my course because it's more in depth. There's different levels of things we talk about that aren't the basics. So you might know how to file an I-485, but you don't know about different issues. For example, the example I gave today about making sure the divorce is proper because of jurisdiction issues, that can really get somebody. We go over all these little things, like don't file a case within 5 years of getting the green card. If the green card is that the person, that gets too complicated. I don't want to get talk about now, but nonetheless, there's so much information there. Concept processing, I realize a lot of lawyers aren't familiar with. A lot of lawyers haven't read the 212 statute and don't know it. We go over that detail. Usually lawyers a lot of times just copy those cover letters. So it's really in depth, and I've discounted it because I want more people to take the course. So its price is pretty much almost cut in half at this point. So if you want more information, just email me, info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com, and we could take it from there. I'm going to be pumping out a bunch of new episodes in the coming weeks. So I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.